Hey, folks, welcome to this week's episode of Corner 3 Fan Bites Basketball Podcast. Not really. It's more of just a
Well,
discussion show at this
define
point. Huh?
podcast, you know?
Well, I mean, okay, a podcast is a thing that you get on a podcast player and you listen to it only. And we're not putting these on the feed.
But isn't
Do you
the
know
internet?
why? I want to start with an attack on our audience. Too few of you listen to the podcast, and
Yeah,
that's why we're gonna
sure.
do it more.
That's on y'all.
That's on y'all. That's not on us. It's not on y'all. We have standards. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Anyway,
In this
uh,
specific scenario, we do. Many
I am
many
your,
people would have said just cancel the whole thing.
and some people might have said that, but here we are. It's another brand new NBA season. I'm one of your hosts, John Warren. This is Nikki Grayson. Hello. I hope I pointed the right way. Did I
You
point
did.
the right way?
You fucking
Yep.
nailed it,
Awesome.
John.
Nailed it. We are less than a full week into the NBA season, but every single team has played at this point. We got our last teams in Thursday night games: the Mavs, the Hawks, the Clippers, and more. We can talk about a lot of stuff, but really, I want to start out this conversation about the two games the Warriors have had, where Steph Curry has looked absolutely like the MVP of the league, and it's not even close.
If only someone said that.
Yeah,
If
only
if
someone said that.
only someone said at the beginning of the
Yeah.
series on their basketball show, I think Steph Curry is going to be the most valuable player in the National Basketball Association this year.
Uh,
That person would sound pretty prescient if the season ended today.
that person would seem pretty smart. I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I want to give you props for
Thank you
for
for having the
scoping
hot
that.
take that Stephen Curry will be good at
Steph Curry will
basketball.
be good, but it's not just good. It's he had his eighth career triple double in the opener.
In a
Um,
game where he played like shit.
yeah,
He had a bad game
he had a
and walked
relatively
out
bad
of
game
Staples with a triple double.
with the trip dub and the win. But it was really last night's game against the Clippers where he shot really well from the field, but also had 45 total points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
Was wild. He's had 2 games in a row with 10 rebounds. I don't know if that's ever happened in his career. I'll have to look that up. But 45 points against the Clippers, a team that is pretty good defensively, even though they don't have Kawhi Leonard on the floor right now. But he looked amazing. He had a couple of incredible Steph Curry distance threes to close out that game, and yeah, I don't know. What did you think about his performance?
It was great. Every game except the one that had your team in it, that I've watched this week, was good. It reminded me of like why I like watching basketball. And then before I watched Lakers Clippers, sorry, not Lakers Clippers, Warriors Clippers, I watched Mavs Hawks. And for a while, John, you and I both subscribed to the National Basketball Association's League Pass.
Yeah, we do.
And did you know that on League Pass, if they don't have the game but they know you have TNT, they're like, this game's on TNT Overtime. So I was like, what does that mean? So I clicked it. And TNT Overtime in this specific scenario was a camera that was literally only trained on Luka Doncic. So I watched most of that game only watching Luka Doncic play basketball. And John, he's not looking great out there. I know it's only been one game. He looked pretty bad.
He averaged a triple double in the preseason, but it's the preseason, so that doesn't really matter. He was averaging, I think, 32 points in the preseason. He had 18 last night. He looked very bad. More than the fact that he just looked off offensively, he turned the ball over a ton. And he was making very foolish passes across the court. He was making very poor decisions inside. He looked bad. And if we want to talk about things that we scoped earlier this week, I said that we were going to get our asses kicked in this game, and boy, I was right. I just felt like the deck was stacked. Trey opening home in Atlanta, coming off of a great season, taking that team to the playoffs, looking great in the process. I thought that team would be great. I think John Collins is one of the most underrated players in the league. So I know that team's going to be good, and I was like, okay, it's the first Jason Kidd team, whatever. I think Jason Kidd fucking sucks as a coach.
Yeah.
Because
and as a person, also.
crucially as a person. But I didn't see a whole lot of adjustments. I didn't see a lot of that Rick Carlisle, hey, we're fucking up a lot. I didn't see a lot of that fire from Jason Kidd in that first game. And maybe that's his philosophy. He wants to give the team a little bit. But he talked a big game. I don't know if you heard any of this stuff, but before the game, leading up to it, he goes, Kristaps Porzingis is back.
Yeah.
He is
the
the
unicorn
player that
is returning.
The unicorn is returning. The player that we feared when we played against the Knicks is back. And he looked the same kind of bullshit that I've seen. Flashes of brilliance, a 7'3" guy hitting a fadeaway mid-range jumper while double teamed. Like, that's cool. Do it more, Kristaps.
He can't do it more. Though, is the thing. It's because he's inconsistent.
If Kristaps Porzingis ends up being the second scorer on the Mavs this year, I will cut the tags off of the Kristaps Porzingis city jersey, and I will wear it on this show at the end of the season. I will wear it.
Yeah.
You'll see my weird arm situation, but clip that. If he ends up being the second leading scorer in the Mavs, I will wear it. But I don't see it happening.
No.
And Luka looked terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what Jason Kidd told the team yesterday before the game started, but it was like they dribbled the ball so much. They just stopped the offense sometimes. It's like they would be in the middle of running a play, and then they would be like, the ball hasn't touched the ground in a little bit.
It's like Jason Kidd showed everyone clips from the NBA in 1950.
Mm-hmm. He was inspired by the top 75 list.
By the top 75, which we will talk about in a bit. But everyone looked like Bob Cousy out there. And for fucking what? It didn't get it. Nothing happened. We looked terrible. We didn't look aggressive enough. When I say we, I mean the Dallas Mavericks, in case you're just joining us, because when I say we, it's the royal we, because I love the Dallas Mavericks very much. But we looked terrible. The Mavs looked terrible, and I know Luka's going to bounce back, and it's going to be okay. But I am worried about what this offseason did to Luka, because he went to the Olympics, was heartbroken at that loss.
Should have been better. That's kind of my take.
He looked incredible in the Olympics. I mean, he single-handedly basically took that team to the bronze medal game. But I don't know what this offseason did. They had a bunch of shakeups in the front office. He had that contract extension, but I still don't think anyone buys that he's totally invested in this team from the next 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely not.
So it's kind of an odd season, and if I thought he was going to get into a rhythm early on in his MVP campaign, I was mistaken.
Interesting. John Warren, where's that fucking jingle? John was wrong. Go listen to Friends Reunion, another podcast on the Fanboy Podcast Network. We can talk about my Lakers. Looked fine, except one of the players just didn't get off the bus.
Yeah. Russ looked
shook.
like he did at the beginning of last season, where we all thought he was washed and done, and then he roared back. So I'm not worried about it. No. It doesn't sound like Anthony Davis and LeBron are worried about it either.
It was weird because here's the thing that when I watched Warriors Lakers earlier this week, the thing that fucked me up was watching an incredibly close basketball game where LeBron tries for the first 2 weeks and then he goes home until Christmas and then he comes back. Because LeBron James's whole thing is he has to remind everyone that he's still good at basketball. So he tries for the first 2 weeks. So LeBron was out there hitting his jumper got better. His 3-point shot got better. Still can't hit a free throw to save his fucking life.
Nope.
Nobody on that team can hit a free throw to save their fucking life. We're gonna lose so many games by 2.5 points. It's just gonna be tough because we're gonna go 10 of 28 from the line. Every fucking game. But the Lakers were in that game, leading that game for most of the game, and then Steph Curry had to pull a triple double out of his ass in order for that for them to win that game.
Yep.
And what Russell Westbrook had only a handful more points than I did. And then also the Warriors don't have Klay Thompson back yet.
No, they don't.
So like watching that game and having an incredible time watching it, and then being like neither of these teams are even close to full strength. I'm like, oh, this is the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just what it is, and we're gonna get 6 games of this.
Yeah.
I think LeBron might kill Steph Curry on the court.
Yeah, he might. He might have to.
He might have to. How else are you gonna? If he's gonna put 60 points up, he might have to.
I mean, Steph is going to average, I think, 36 points this season or something.
He's going to average that many until Klay comes back.
Yeah.
And I think that offense, I think they're going to try to just get Klay going early. They're going to lose a couple games because they're just going to try to get the ball into Klay's hands.
He's going to shoot 85 threes in the first few games.
Just to be you got to get back. It's the law of large numbers. Statistically speaking, you're going to hit most of them. But yeah, you were talking a little bit earlier. Oh, any other games this week that caught your fancy?
I watched the Hornets Pacers.
It was a good game.
We talked about League Pass teams, and I watched most of that Hornets crew. I want to point out 2 things. One, that Hornets Homer broadcasting crew is pretty fun, but they're also like, I mean, obviously Homer commentary teams, but they're like the most Homer commentary team I think I've heard. Mm-hmm. Just like watching fouls take place that are obvious fouls, they're like, I don't know about that. I don't think that was
that so much.
I kind of do too. Yeah. But that was a fun crew, and that was a fun game. I don't think the Pacers or Hornets will be there at the end in the conversation, but the Pacers are a fairly talented but under the radar team, and now they have like a good coach in Rick Carlisle.
I thought he retired, John. I thought he was kind of done with basketball.
He just kind of said that he's done with Mark Cuban, is what he said he was done with.
Interesting.
And Valgulis, whatever his name was.
Valar Morghulis.
Valar Morghulis. Who, by the way, gave an interview to ESPN this week. I don't know if you read that.
No. What did he say?
He basically says the entire front office in Dallas is gossipy, that, it was very sour grapes. You should go read it. It's very funny. But that Hornets team is fun. I mean, LaMelo is great, but they've got some young pieces there, and that'll be a fun team to watch all year.
Yeah. But yeah, the Bucks, High Boots in chat talking about the Bucks getting fucking stomped yesterday.
Oh yeah, they got throttled by Miami.
Fun to watch, kind of continuing to further my hot take and your also hot take that they should have fired Mike Budenholzer over the offseason.
Absolutely.
There's no way this man has a job by Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right now.
Ooh, interesting.
There's no way this man has a job by Christmas.
Okay.
He's getting fired for Christmas.
I'm into it.
And Suns.
Fun game.
Why did the Raptors lose? Not
well,
very
fun
good
game.
anymore.
I hate to break it to you. I don't think the Raptors are very good.
They lost their kind of whole thing. They traded all of their
guys
mid. Away. Yeah,
they kind of traded all their guys away for a rental.
It worked though.
It worked.
I can't fault them. It works.
I can't really fault them.
They're gonna ride that forever.
Yeah, but I also think the media did the Raptors a little bit dirty by acting like Pascal Siakam was like the guy.
Yeah, was one of the best players in the whole world.
I don't know if that's true. I think he's a fine basketball player, but he's not. He's not up there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hypebeat says no actual believe. No. Oh, the Raptors make
no reason
to
believe this.
No way.
I don't think so. I think High Boots, you're wrong about that. I think they're a bottom 4 team in the East.
They're getting a lottery pick. That's a lottery team. They're gonna win whatever 18-year-old is gonna come out of the G League Ignite team. They're gonna win that.
I don't think Van Vliet's gonna set this team on fire for the whole season. I just don't see it.
Before we move on to the top 76 lads, that fucking Knicks Celtics game.
Double OT.
legitimately an all-time classic
Was
on
great.
fucking opening night. I was yelling in my own home. That's how good that game was.
It was good.
It went on for forever.
Yep.
I haven't. It was perfect because every single person on the court was as tired as I would be if I were playing basketball.
Yeah.
At one point, Jaylen Brown he had a wide the fuck open dunk, and he jumped like in the restricted area, and then you could see in his brain. His brain was like, "My legs are gonna get me up to the hoop," and then he just didn't. His leg said, "Nah." And he just didn't get high enough. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But that game was really good. That Knicks team is going to be very good. That Celtics team is not going to be very good.
You don't think so?
No, I do not think that Celtics team is going to be very good. I think they will slide into the play-in somehow.
I think the Celtics are so strange because I think Jason Tatum is great. I think Jaylen Brown is really great, but I also don't have a lot of faith in that team, even though they've got two very, very, very great players.
You know why I know that team is not going to be good?
Why?
Because they are going to rely on moving their offense through Dennis Schroeder.
I almost said you're gonna say Dennis Schroeder, and you got there, and I was like, okay.
You know why? It's because he's not very good at basketball.
I don't think he's great.
Do you know how much pleasure I derived out of my television watching that man miss open 3-point shots, knowing that it wasn't hurting me directly, and that I was actually hurting the team I care for the least? It was art.
And Mike Breen brought up the fact that
I literally did a spit take when Mike Breen was like, "Don't forget, Dennis Schroeder turned down an $84 million deal for the Los Angeles Lakers." Water all over my coffee table.
Yeah. Well, and there's sound coming from somewhere.
What kind of sound is it?
It's ESPN sound. I have an ESPN article open, and they
just said, video.
Audio.
Damn.
That's bad, ESPN. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Keep it muted, like on fanbyte.com.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how different your vibe would be coming into the season?
I would literally...
If he had said yes to that deal that the Lakers offered him?
I think... Jesus Christ, every single morning when I wake up, that Dennis Schroeder turned down. I cannot stress this enough.
Yeah.
He said no.
Yeah.
To the idea
$84 million.
of being paid $84 million to play basketball in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He said no. And the thing that happened was that he ended up getting $8 million to live in Boston.
So $8 million's less than $84 million.
John, that's so many less dollars.
So many less dollars, yeah.
It's like that's the difference between your 3 generations from now having money and not 3 generations from now of your family not having money.
Funky asking a wonderful question in the chat. Why did he say no?
He said no because he thought he was good at basketball.
He thought he was worth more than $84 million.
Which is, no one's worth more than that.
Very few players in this league are worth more than $84 million.
I can't. It's one of
and it's really funny. And I think if I'm Lakers front office, I fire those people anyway, because what happened is you had one of the dumbest players in the history of the league say no to something, and that's how you got Russ Westbrook. You didn't wheel and deal, and you didn't sign Dennis Schroeder and didn't do a sign and trade and get this set up. That was not part of the plan.
Nope.
It was a high profile no to a stupid contract offered to a subpar player. And then when that happened, in the wake of that, they were like, well, we got to get someone good. I guess we're going to have to go get Russ Westbrook.
I guess.
Like that's not a win for the GM.
No.
Like that's
but listen,
bad GM.
Rob Pelinka relies on the fact that he looks so much like Rob Lowe. And like, are you gonna say Rob Lowe you can't do something? No. You can't tell a white man that looks like Rob Lowe that he can't do something.
It's true. Yeah.
So he has to keep his job. Let's talk about the top 75, 76 players in the history of the NBA.
We have to talk about this list.
Here's the list.
We're gonna put it up on the screen. We're not gonna read. We can't read all of those, but.
Oh, is it because like you like physically can, or like what's the deal?
Do you think it's gonna? Okay. Do you want me to read the full list?
No, I don't. Okay. I so don't want that.
Okay.
I cannot stress how little I would like that. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Ray Allen, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Carmelo Anthony. Who misses this list? First of all, there are 70. Okay, for the 75th anniversary of the National Basketball Association,
correct.
The NBA said, vote media and players. Vote on your top 75 players to ever play the game of National Basketball Association basketball. And they fucked up so bad that there are 76 people on this list.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievably funny to me. There was a tie somewhere, but they won't say where the tie is.
Do you know I have a guess. Do you want to know what my guess is?
Yes.
It is some combination of the following. There was one voter on this list that knew who Dolph Schayes, Bill Sharman, and Paul Arizin were.
Yeah, and
there was one person, and they voted for them once, and they got on this list.
And then who did they kick off because of these three dudes that no one's ever heard of?
I'm gonna say Vince Carter, which is also Ka. Ka is on the space station again this week. That was his pick to be somewhere on this list.
Yeah.
Probably the most obvious snub. Some people talked about Tracy McGrady. Some people talked about some other folks, but
Dwight
Howard, which I can definitely make an argument for the. I mean, I could even say, I don't know. There's some other players I might even put that are still playing. But I think honoring these old players that were in the 40s and 50s makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Bob Cousy was a game changer. Mm-hmm. Sam Jones did a lot for the league. John Havlicek, like these are older players that I think deserve to be on this list. Dave Derbyshire, but Paul Arizin, Dolph Schayes, and Bill Sharman specifically, are three players that we don't have a lot of video on.
Yeah, straight up. So like, how are you gonna vote on these people?
And I think honoring the NFL does a cool thing. And it's one of the only cool things that they do, where they've got the Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame every year is just like, you know, those 5 players that retired a few years ago that were like probably the best at their position ever, at least in the past 20 years, they're going to make it. So there was a guy in 1938 called Mad Cat McGee or something who wasn't great, but he like was important for the time. He ate an opponent's helmet or something. And like we're going to put him
when they switched from the soft ones to the hard ones.
And we're going to put him in the Hall of Fame as kind of like our legacy Hall of Famer. They should have a legacy list that puts players like Dolph Schayes and Bill Sharman and Paul Arizin on it. Yeah. But like nobody fucking knows who those players are.
Nobody. Also, Paul Pierce shouldn't be on this list.
Pierce should absolutely not be on this list.
There is no way Paul Pierce should be on this list. He won 1 ring. That's literally it.
I think Vince Carter should absolutely be there instead of Paul Pierce. But if we're talking Paul Pierce,
why is Manu Ginobili not on this list instead of
Paul
fucking Pierce?
Why is Tony Parker? Yeah. Why is Chris Bosh?
Yeah. I don't know. It is like that is the most egregious one of the guys I know, because I just trust that all of these white dudes on the list before like Magic Johnson were good at basketball. I have to trust that. Like I know they weren't because I've seen old basketball, but I just have to trust that they were good enough to justify being on this list. Right. There is no fucking reason Paul Pierce is on this list.
No.
He won literally one time and shit himself on the court.
He shit himself on the court. And was out of the big three the worst one, in my
Yes.
opinion.
The worst and arguably least important of them.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It doesn't work. So Paul Pierce, the old guys, I'm not feeling it. I think Manu, I think Vince Carter. Vince Carter, if we want to talk about importance.
Yeah. He jumped over a
the
guy
game.
in a live basketball game.
I saw some people going being like, well, he didn't have the stats. He didn't have the blah, blah, blah. Fucking Adolph Shays didn't have the stats compared to modern day players.
Yeah.
Bill Sharman, and I looked this shit up. Bill Sharman averaged 17 points for his career and played alongside Bob Cousy. And that's really the only reason that he was probably well known is that he was just in a really good backcourt. And like, not taking away from those players, but it's like, I don't get it. In terms of importance of the game, Vince Carter should be on this list for sure.
Yeah.
And I agree with Manu. I agree with
I
Manu
do not
stuff.
understand how Manu Ginobili is not on this list. If I am Coach Pop, I have already burned down Adam Silver's home.
Yeah.
Because it is legitimately inexcusable.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, that's a top 76 players of all time. I think that's the reason why I'm more angry.
Right.
Is that
because some people were left off, but
there were too
up.
many guys on the list.
Too many guys, and some people were left off.
Audrey is right. In the middle of a basketball game, Manu Ginobili killed a bat.
Yeah.
How is he not on this list? He's the first person to end another life on the basketball court. Actually,
he killed, and his high-speed internet Roadrunner commercials for Spectrum are classics.
They're classic.
They're great.
HEB wouldn't be here without Manu Ginobili.
No.
He's keeping grocery stores in Texas alive.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
And not to, I mean, whatever, if you want to say this is a positive or negative contribution, but jumping into a player to draw a foul.
That's him. He invented
blocking. This is all shit that Manu Ginobili popularized.
Yeah.
And that is influence. That's influential. Whether you like it or not, that's another story.
Oh, we can talk about that though, right? Because they did change over the offseason. They changed the rules for what determines an offensive or a defensive foul based on a jump shot. And the way that there's a lot of words for basically if you make a non-basketball move while you're shooting, it's an offensive foul. And they keep putting this graphic on this screen that's like an unnatural kicking of the leg to the up or to the side. And it's like, what other, am I going to kick my leg back? Like, of course. Yeah, like, duh.
Like a horse.
Yeah, like, if you jump towards the guy, that means it's a foul. I watched so many missed calls on that thing over the course of the last 2 days. It's like the refs don't know. The first one that Steph got in that Laker game, he jumped directly into the guy. And I was like, well, they're going to call that. They simply did not.
Now, Trey was about 50% on those.
Yes.
Trey
did
definitely still tried a lot.
He did. My favorite one of those is that Trae Young pulled up from 3, but Tim Hardaway Jr. was trailing him, and Trae Young was like, "I'm not running anymore."
Yep.
And he stopped. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. was like, "Ah!" And then he hit him and split his whole face open and has to get 3 stitches in the back.
Yep.
If you hurt yourself so bad that you had to go get 3 stitches, would you then come out and continue to play back? That would be my night.
Me personally?
Yeah.
No way.
That would be my night.
Way.
I'd be like, I'm good.
I got stitches. Hurt. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah. I'm gonna shower and I'm gonna get on the bus. I'll just wait for y'all. I'll watch the game on my phone, but like
I'm gonna get some soup. I'm gonna get some soup and go home. My face cut.
Goodness. My face got cut.
I would be done.
Last week, John, we've made a grim error, a grave error.
Yes.
We talked about every fucking possible thing a person could win in the NBA. And we did not discuss who we thought was going to be in the finals and who was going to win it. So, John Morin, today, January, what month is October 22nd, 2021. I ask you this question. a la cuisine. You know, like in Iron Chef.
Yeah.
I say onto you in the words of my uncle. A la cuisine. Who's gonna who's gonna win the? Who's in the finals and who's winning it?
Warriors, Nets win it.
Wow, Nets win it.
Yeah, because I just think I think Kyrie's gonna get the shot at some point. I feel it. There's too much time between now and June.
Is that something we can literally put money on?
Oh, like in
Like
Vegas?
that has to be a prop bet,
It
right?
has
By
to be.
what date?
Someone's probably got a bet.
By
like
what
that, yeah.
date does Kyrie Irving get the shot?
Get the shot. Yeah, I think Kyrie gets the shot. I think Kyrie comes back. I think we talked about this a little bit. I think the Lakers deal with injuries in the playoffs, so the Warriors get in.
Yeah.
I don't think the Warriors now are better than the Nets at full strength, but I think it would be a good series. What do you think?
I also think Warriors Nets, but I think the Warriors take it.
How do you argue that? What do you think is the difference?
I think that the way I'm thinking about it is that Klay doesn't come back until March.
Sure.
Because that's what I would do if I was Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is that the Warriors like end up lurking like in the middle. Like they're not, if they aren't, depending on how early Klay comes back, they are 1 or 2 seed the whole season.
Okay.
If Klay comes back in March, I feel like they're a 3-4 seed, which means that their path is going to be a little bit easier. And then I think that Klay Thompson is just going to be very hot going into the playoffs. And I think the return of the Splash Brothers gets them over the hill. And I don't know if they play as good of defense, but I think they might just rely on scoring 145 points a game against Brooklyn to try to win that series.
Yeah. I for me, some of it's just like KD. Like I can't.
Yeah, you can't. He's the best player in the league right now.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to go back and say that KD gets MVP, but
I think Steph is going to put up cartoon numbers that'll get there. I think so. You said this the other day. We can wrap up in a second, but you said this the other day. Nikola Jokic is the most inconsequential MVP of recent memory of all time.
They're going to revive Sports Jeopardy in another 10 years, and the $2,000, like the final Jeopardy question, is going to be who won. This player for the Denver Nuggets won the 2020 NBA Most Valuable Player Award. And then someone's going to write
Michael Porter Jr.?
Yeah. That's Jamal what's going to happen. It was Jamal Murray, right? With his torn ACL. That was him? That was him that year, right? Like, nobody's going to fucking remember. Which is, like, not great for Nikola Jokic. But, like, no one's going to remember.
I mean, no one. So last year he averaged, I think, 8.3 assists a game. No one had done that since Wilt Chamberlain. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're compared to Wilt, that's a pretty big deal.
That's a pretty good list to be on. However, it's the Nuggets.
It's the Nuggets, and they looked like dog shit.
Yeah,
and I mean, they did.
I don't know why, but like for me, like regardless of how good the Nuggets and the Jazz are, I will never respect them.
Wow.
I just won't.
Just never respect them. Interesting.
Like why would why would I?
All right, so we talked about inconsequential MVPs, and I was looking something up because in my memory, I have another one in mind, and unfortunately, it's one I care very much about, and it's Dirk's in 2007. And Dirk's a wonderful player, but the Mavs got fucking browbeat in the first round, I believe. Playoffs.
But the only reason Dirk got it is because they couldn't give it to Steve Nash a third consecutive time.
Yeah, I think I also agree with you that's basically
because
what happened.
someone on Twitter was like, "What about Steve Nash's second MVP?" Which that makes sense, but also he was very good in 2007.
Yeah,
but they could not justify giving Steve Nash a third one. Yeah. So Dirk But like
Sure.
going back, it's Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Harden, Westbrook, Steph, KD, LeBron, Derrick Rose. Remember him?
Ooh,
LeBron,
well,
Kobe.
I mean, Derrick Rose.
It's
That's a
back.
pretty. Yeah. That's not a good one.
No. But like, I don't know. Derrick Rose was unbelievably good.
He was, but I'm
And
just saying in terms of like what it. I don't know what it did. I didn't remember that he won an MVP.
I do. The reason I remember
Okay.
that he won that MVP is because I was like, this dude is going to be one of the best players ever. And he was legitimately on pace to
He
like
was honest.
to
He was on
break
pace.
some records, but then
Yeah.
his bones fell apart because no
Yeah.
one taught him
He
how to
got
jump.
he got
Before.
Greg Oden
He got
disease.
Greg
Yeah.
Oden disease.
Yeah.
Which is tragic.
Very.
You ever think about how like LeBron James has won? Let me see. 1, 2. I'm just like looking on the list to see how many like times the Dallas Mavericks like shows up on this list, and like players who
Oh,
have
yeah.
played for them like
Yeah,
show
not
up on this list.
pretty much once,
It
I think.
seems like one time, yeah, and it was back.
Yeah.
Let me see, in 2007.
Yeah,
So
2007.
LeBron James is on here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 times, and he's still. It says that he's still playing right now.
Yeah, he's still playing, yeah.
For the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what it says on the computer.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, and let me just look one more time. Russell Westbrook. Oh, okay. So he's on here too.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
But Anthony Davis is a scrub, and he's never won it.
AD should not be on that list.
Oh, you don't think so?
No. I don't think so.
On the top 35?
No. Over Vince Carter and Manu? No. Different games, I know. But I don't put
tough. I don't know.
I will say this. Dwight Howard has a better resume than Anthony Davis does.
I know, but to me, it's the eyeball test. I don't know. I don't know. That sucks in a way.
Yeah.
But there's there's stats. There's like pedigree. There's eyeball test, and then there's influence.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like,
yeah.
All right, so I could see influence and
for
pedigree.
Dwight
Stats.
over AD.
For Dwight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that.
Dwight Howard took a team that had Hito Turkoglu on it.
I know.
The NBA Finals.
And the dunk contest stuff was like iconic.
Yes.
Like that'll be remembered forever. Yeah. So, all right, I can buy that. I think Dwight Howard has done an unbelievable job of sabotaging the second half of his career not even the second half, the middle of his
career. Yeah.
The middle of his career.
Yeah, but he's brought it back at the end though.
He's brought it back, and I think he'll get the recognition he deserves, but it'll be in the next list, I feel like.
Yeah. The top 100.
People will literally forget who Dolph Schayes is in 25 years.
Good, as they should.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's basketball.
Thank
you so much for hanging out with us. This will, if you are just joining us somehow, this will be on youtube.com/fanbyte. You can watch the entire thing for free. Can you believe that? It's free on YouTube. It's a free video on YouTube. We're trying this new thing out. We're putting videos up on YouTube and we're not charging for them.
We're not charging for them. It's really cool of us.
But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. If you like the show, please let us know by emailing us at podcast@fanbyte.com, or you can let us know in the Discord, which you can get to by going to fanbyte.casa. John, where can people find you online, assuming they can't
find me?
read
It's
the text?
right there below me, but if you can't see it, it is at floppyadult on twitter.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Godsewa, Godsewa. That's it. We did it. That's basketball. Do you have a take?
That's basketball.
Do you have a take to take us out?
Do I have a take to take us out?
I do.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Okay, here it is. Damian Lillard will play for the Oklahoma City Thunder by the end of this season.
Why?